Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something absolutely massive to take a look at. It's something that I know is greatly anticipated by many because we've got our very first, very large 1/35th scale sauropod from Haolonggood. As you can see, this is the Alamosaurus, and it is gigantic, or at the very least, the box is gigantic. We don't have it out quite yet, but you can see that box is huge. I really had to pull the camera back and bring it up pretty high to get this box in screen. On the front, we have a very cool blue skeleton. And then if we turn the box around, we've got like a purplish skeleton on the back. Now that's because we've got kind of like a purplish paint variant and a blue paint variant, which means the boxes are the same. I do have both paint variants here, but I only brought one box in because there is no way I could fit both in here. And then up on the top, you've got a very cool checklist with an absolute ton of Haolonggood releases here. You can see there are just so many. I'm not going to sit here and count them all, but it looks like we may actually have the entire Haolonggood line here, outside of a few different paint variants of the T-Rex and Pterosaur, but when it comes to their main PVC releases, I think that might be all of them. So let's pop this box open and see what we're dealing with. First of all, we've got the bases, and the bases are absolutely beautiful. I am very impressed with how nice the base looks. And of course, you can't see the best view of it right now, but we will get a better view here in a moment. We also have the Pterosaur, which you can see is actually spinning here on the top of the tree. This tree is a separate piece that actually comes out of the base. You can pull that out and then put it back in. It's actually attached with a magnet. Then we have the other base as well, and both bases are the same. There is no difference when it comes to the bases. They are definitely the same base overall. We're going to just slide these out of the way. I didn't move the camera down, which I should have, to take a look at the bases, but I know these Alamosaurus are going to be pretty tall, and we really need to have the room to bring these guys in. And look at that. Like, that right there is evidence enough, because it's so tall, it's completely out of screen. We cannot see the head. There we go. We can now see the head of the Alamosaurus. And we, of course, have the other paint variant here as well, which now is back too far, or too far forward, I should say. Just kind of pan back here again a little bit further, and you can see again, both of these are honestly incredible. Like, these are unquestionably some of the most impressive dinosaur models I've ever seen, not just because of the incredible size, but the sculpt and paint apps on these are out of this world. They look so unbelievably good here, again, at our first glance. So, as always, let's jump to a closer look and check these out. I can definitely see this being interesting with this closer look because they are so huge. But if you start up here at the head sculpt, you can see that head sculpt is awesome. The detailing is so nice, so crisp. The skin texture looks great. I really love the mouth. It just has that big kind of grumpy, large sauropod look to it, which I really, really like. You can also see that on top of the incredible fine detail, the paintwork is excellent. You've got some nice bluish tones moving through, some lighter, kind of like a maybe like a light brownish tone. You've got some darker browns around the eye. You have some purplish tones up here on the top of the head. The eye is also painted with a white and then a black, and that looks really good. You can see the gloss coat on it shining. The nostrils are also nicely sculpted, and I really like how there's just ever so subtle variation of color here on the face. We also have that dark wash that they've been applying a lot lately applied to the figure, which is a great thing if you ask me. If you take a look up here on the top of the Alamosaurus, you can see the very cool patterning that we have moving down the course of the neck. I love that we start with the purplish tones, but you can kind of see them progressively get lighter as you move down, and then it transitions to that light sort of almost like a greenish tone, or like an off-white. It's a very interesting tone. We also have the darker browns. You can see some of the blues popping up here and there. You've got the really beautiful bluish tones moving down here along the side of the neck, and you can also see the lighter tones moving down through here as well. Super impressive paintwork. You can see all kinds of skin wrinkles and skin folds as you move down, as well as the very nice scale detail, which is highlighted very nicely with a mixture of a dry brushing as well as the dark wash. As you lead here onto the underside of the throat, you can kind of see like some pinkish tones moving down here along the underside of the throat as well. I think there's a very good chance that this may be the single best painted Haolonggood release so far. As you continue to move down, you continue to see how the neck, of course, increases in size. We still have that nice patterning moving through with the blue sort of stripes, the little areas of green. You can see green showing up here and there, the darker tones as well, striping down. And it is incredibly natural as far as the application of the paint. And they have done an absolutely incredible job on all the different variations of color. Like, you can just see such slight, very subtle variations of color on this figure. Like, it's crazy how good the paint apps are on this. This is almost like very expensive paleo artist type paintwork. It's that nicely done. You can continue to see those pinkish tones moving down here along the underside of the throat. All of the incredible skin detail moving down, and I feel like I'm going to use the term incredible a lot in this review, but honestly, this figure definitely deserves it. As you move down, you have more skin wrinkles, and in fact, you have a ton as you lead down here to the bottom of the neck, leading into the chest of our Alamosaurus, and you can see all sorts of skin wrinkles and skin folds, as well as the nice pinkish tones here to the underside of the dinosaur right there. As you move up here, you can again see how good the skin texture looks, how nice the paintwork is. You can really see that dark wash here at play on the figure as well. And as you move back into the body, of course, our dinosaur's body is quite immense. You've got some very nice, very impressive girth in the stomach region. You again have all of these dark tones kind of like just patterning through. They kind of lead up here toward the back as well, but they taper away as you lead up toward the spinal column. As you lead down here into the front leg, you can really nicely see the skin stretching off of the stomach, as well as the very strong leg that we have here, the nice muscle definition moving down. You've got the elbow here in the back of the leg. Beautiful paintwork again as you lead down, as you have the purplish tones picking up again as you lead down toward the foot, as well as the darker tones striping through. It's so tall, it's currently smacking its head on the ceiling above me. You've got the really nice looking foot sculpt that my camera doesn't want to focus on. There you go. You can see that we have basically that darker blue as you lead down into the foot. As you lead back here into the stomach, you again have the skin stretching here into the rear leg here again with the leg trailing. It's stretching that skin very nicely. You can see more of those pinkish tones, as well as again a plethora of coloration moving up. You even have almost like some yellowish greens showing up in a few different areas. And then moving back up here, you start to pick up all of these osteoderms here on the back of the dinosaur, which then turn into ridges as you lead out into the tail. You can see the ridges are pretty nicely sized. They have a dry brushing over them, but they don't seem to have any specific paintwork for the ridges themselves, just basically like dry brushed over. But they look really good. As you lead down into the rear leg, again, you can see more of the blues, the purples, the brownish tones, like just tons and tons of variation of color moving down into the thigh. You can see the muscle definition as well. Again, the knee right there in the front of the leg, the calf muscle, and more beautiful variation of color. You can really see the nice dry brushing techniques running along the back of the leg, as well as some skin wrinkling there showing again the movement of that leg. And then as you lead down, you can see the foot sculpt here on the rear leg looks nice. You've got the nails painted with a light gray. Again, you can see that dry brushing. And then you lead up, you've got some more wrinkles back here behind the leg moving into the tail. And as we laid out, the ridges get smaller. The osteoderms start to kind of minimize, I would say, as far as the amount we see. And then you lead out through the length of the tail. You have some more of those osteoderms moving out. We also get a very dark purplish tone with a nice striping effect leading out with a really strong curve for the tail leading out there. And then here on the underside, you can again see the detailing looks absolutely unreal on this. The sculpt and detail is seriously some of the best I have ever seen for a sauropod model. You again have those nice pinkish tones for the underside as well. As we carefully turn this around, you can take a look here at the opposing side of the head. Again, it looks really nice. The eyes look nice as far as the paintwork. Again, tons of variation of color here in the face as well. Again, you've got the ear back here, and then you lead down into the neck. And again, the skin detail is so impressive on this. As you lead down, of course, the neck gains quite a bit as far as the size goes. You can see all of the skin wrinkles and stuff popping up here. The further down into the bottom of the neck you go, you can see how this leg is trailing as our dinosaur is walking along. Again, absolutely picture perfect paintwork. You can really see the nice wash right there. Again, that dark wash. And then you lead back here, you can see the pinkish tones again, The nice patterning here in the stomach. Again, the rear leg, as it's definitely supporting a strong amount of the weight of the dinosaur right now. You can really see how it's tensing and stuff. And then again, we lead out here into the tail with a really nice curve. So I think this one's probably my favorite of the two, but the only way to truly tell is to take a closer look at the other one. So starting up here at the head, of course, the sculpt is going to be the same. There's no difference as far as that goes, just different paintwork. And you can see it's almost mirrored, but where we have blue, we now have purple. On top of that, where we had pink on the other one, we now have orangish tones, which looks really cool. I love that we have a darkening again around the eye. Kind of the same tone of color as far as that lighter tone as what we saw on the other one. Again, the paintwork of the eye looks great. You've got a nice gloss coat there. I also like that they've highlighted the mouth with a darker tone, because sometimes the mouth of a sauropod, if remaining closed, sometimes kind of gets lost in the shuffle of the paintwork and doesn't stand out as nicely as it should, but they've beautifully highlighted that mouth with that darker tone. And then as we move down, you see the orange kind of leading along but starting to trail away. You also see the purplish tones, the black tones as well. Again, you have that same style of paintwork, same patterning. You also have a pinkish tone on the underside, similar to the other one, but it's nowhere near as vibrant as the other one. But as you continue to lead down, you pretty much see the same style of patterning and stuff leading along. You have the striping effect. Again, variation of color. I can even see the greenish tones very lightly applied to this one, just like we saw in the other one. Really take notice to that dark wash, amping that paintwork up so nicely. As we lead down, just like with the other one, we again have that patterning here in the stomach region. We also have some variations of browns on this one that we definitely did not see on the previous version. Leading down into the leg, those browns also lead down and of course stripe through. They look very, very cool. All the way down to the foot, which again is a dark tone, just like we saw on the other one. Again, they darkened, but the other one had like a dark blue, whereas this one has more of like a black tone. And then you lead up again to the stomach. You've got all sorts of variation of color, more of those purples and pinks and stuff on the underside. Super smooth application of the paint, like crazy impressive paintwork on this. As you lead down here, again, you see all of the different variations of color, but like just look at how nice and natural the transitions are. Like that's what there's just so much variation of color to this, and it is applied with absolute perfection. Again, the nails are a lighter variation of a gray, dark tone for the foot, and then you lead out into the tail, and again we have that striping effect. We also have the dry brushing up here on the ridges, similar to how we saw it on the other one. But as you lead out into the tail, we also have an orangish tone out there, which definitely helps to add a nice element of flashiness. Something that I feel like is almost a Haolonggood trademark, is giving their dinosaurs an alternate coloration on the tail. And then on the underside, you can again see that we've got like those pinkish tones. You also have that dark wash present here as you move along. You can see the cloaca right there. And again, tons of variation of color, honestly, on the underside of this one, even more than I think we saw on the bluish version. And then again, the pinks up there. And then, of course, the same thing pretty much for the opposing side. You've got that beautiful head sculpt right there, a really nice paintwork. You can even see a little bit of what looks like potentially a slight gloss coat to the nostrils. And then you lead down again with the really nice patterning. There's actually just so much paintwork on this, even like when it comes to the patterning, so much more than I expect on a sauropod, and it somehow just looks so unbelievably natural on the figure. And again, you have all of that same type of paintwork that we saw on the first side, of course the same sculpt as the previous one. So the Alamosaurus are absolutely my favorite Haolonggood releases so far. Now, when it comes to the bases, we only need to take a look at one because they are the same base, just basically, one for each sauropod. But you can see the bases are beautiful, like really, really nicely sculpted, and they've added so much more to it than just the sculpt work. Of course, the paint work is really nicely done as well. You've got the darker tones here kind of highlighting the footprints for our Alamosaurus. The footprints are sculpted in really nicely. Of course, a dinosaur of this size is definitely going to be leaving some nicely sized footprints. And you can also see again that we've got like this sort of dirt effect over top, giving you all kinds of little pebbles and stuff. You also have like little moss, like little vegetation moving through. And again, that's not something that's painted on, that's actually applied on by Haolonggood. You've got some big stones, some big rocks right here. Again, they've just painted them so realistically. If somebody brought this to me and said I just ripped this out of the ground outside, I honestly would be inclined to believe them. It looks so real. As you move over here, you have a very nice fern, and then you also have some water, which my light is trying to blind it away, but you can see you have a very very nice water effect here in like the center, basically like a little stream or something that was moving through here. And that is as legit and realistic looking as it gets. And I love that they've even added like little areas of alternate variation of color to the muddy area under the water as well. You have another stone over here with some more vegetation, and again some more absolutely incredible detail on this, all sorts of pebbles as well. And then you move over here, you can again see another stone sticking up here, kind of another one right here, another one right here, another one right here. And then you do have the tree, and the tree also looks so realistic, so lifelike. They've put their all into this release, and it really shows you the quality of Haolonggood, I think, and just shows you how high quality their products really are. And then as you get all the way to the top, you've got a really cool Pterosaur figure up here, and the Pterosaur also looks really nice. You can see he's kind of wobbly on here because he just slides into a hole right there. You could glue him on if you choose to, but we go ahead and look at the other side of the tree. Again, that also looks great. There's a ton of variation of color to the tree as well. So let's go ahead and put the base down really quick, take a quick look at the Pterosaur. So if we bring the Pterosaur in, you can see that looks really nice as well, just very small. Obviously, again, unpainted, something that you would have to paint yourself if you choose to, and I will most definitely be painting mine at some point in the future. But you can see the underside also looks nice. You've got that little peg right there to, again, apply it to the top of the tree. Just a really cool extra for a absolute, honestly, masterpiece from Haolonggood. And then to apply your Alamosaurus to the base, you basically just have to kind of follow the footprints that you have there. Just place the foot of the dinosaur into one footprint and then just kind of move it around to find the rest, and you'll have yourself a very nicely positioned Alamosaurus on the base. As far as a size goes, this is going to be pretty fun. I think maybe I'll take it off of the base just because that tree is definitely going to get in my way. So let's move the base out of here. And then I'll try my best to measure this because I have to really reach out here. So about 23.5 inches or around 60 centimeters in length. I feel like that's probably going to be the hardest part to measure because I can move the head a little bit closer here for me to measure. About 14.25 inches or around 36, maybe a hair over 36 centimeters in height. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our gigantic Alamosaurus. Now, as you can see, when it comes to a sauropod size range at 1/35th scale, this thing is huge. You can also see that the usual figures we would bring in for review comparisons aren't going to do us much good this time around because they are way smaller. So for another comparison with a different sauropod, here we have the Haolonggood Ampulosaurus next to the Haolonggood Alamosaurus, and you can see again a pretty darn huge difference in size between these two. Obviously very, very different in size. We also have the PNSO version of the Alamosaurus here next to the Haolonggood version, which you can very clearly see the Haolonggood version is significantly larger, though I will also say they look super cool together. We've also got the Papo Brachiosaurus, which might be one of the single most popular sauropod figures ever, because, I mean, for its time, it was really an incredible release, but clearly it doesn't quite compete with this Alamosaurus when it comes to its size. However, when it comes to large sauropods, we have the W. Dragon Giraffatitan, which you can see is actually taller than our Alamosaurus from Haolonggood. I would say the body is very similar in size, maybe a little bit bigger on the Alamosaurus, definitely a bit longer, but definitely taller when it comes to the W. Dragon Giraffatitan. And of course, we could do this all day, but for one final comparison, we have an old Carnegie Collection Brachiosaurus stepping in next to our Alamosaurus to show you yet again the Alamosaurus is quite a bit larger. So this brand new Haolonggood Alamosaurus is easily their most impressive and most incredible release so far. It is without a doubt in my opinion, masterpiece. The sculpt itself is incredible. And now that I have this version, well, actually both of these versions, I am extremely tempted to try to get my hands on that more basic version that they had out just to complete the trio, because I really did quite like what I had seen on that one as well when it comes to the coloration. If I can get a hold of that one, I will of course review that at a later date as well. But the sculpt on this is out of this world. There is just so much detail on it, just sporting every single ounce of detail that you would want to see for this sauropod. It also has one of my favorite head sculpts I think I've ever seen on a sauropod. Just something about it screams super impressive, extremely large sauropod. And the paintwork, as always, is beyond impressive. Even more impressive, I think, on this than your average Haolonggood release, which they really excel when it comes to their paint jobs and the flashiness but still natural look of their paint jobs. And again, both of these, I think, are beyond anything that they've released previously. And now actually having both of these here in person, I can't even begin to express how excited I am for all of these other sauropods that they are going to be releasing. The bases as well are fantastic. Definitely the best bases to have come from Haolonggood yet. I love the sculpt. I love all of the, vegetation, stones, and the water effect. Everything on it just creates an absolutely incredible addition to this sauropod to just really bring you into that moment of time where the dinosaur is just walking along. And the Pterosaur is a really nice little extra that I'm actually quite excited to get painted up. So overall, this is easily a major recommendation from me. If you have not ordered this yet, I stress you really need to. If you are a fan of sauropods, this one definitely needs to be in your collection. So if you are interested, I will include a link in the description to where I purchased mine from Lana Time Shop. Again, grab one, both, all three, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you at least get one into your collection. Again, check that link. Go grab one from Lana Time Shop and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.